people like me. You need people like me so you can point your f***ing fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Word around the campfire seems to be reigning unified junior middleweight champion of Slovenia, Emma Kozin, will be defending her two alphabet titles against the former undisputed welterweight champion of Norway, Cecilia Brækhus, August 10th in Vegas.
August 10th.
It's the same day that Virgil Ortiz is going to be taking on Sergey Bohachuk in what is a Golden Boy promotion show in Las Vegas. Am I to assume that this fight will be going down on the undercard of that show? The undercard for that show, it's not yet set, so it's a distinct possibility.
Cecilia's second attempt to become a champion at junior middleweight. Her first was late last year opposite the ring, Terry Harper.
She didn't win, but she didn't lose. Now she's fighting Emma Kozin, a true 154-pounder.
Not a smaller fighter that moved up.
It was two-division champion Natasha Jonas who said, there's a reason super featherweights can go up to super welter and win belts. With respect, only a handful are any good.
And she would know. She won 3 alphabet titles up there.
Terry Harper, she won the other. Defended it against Cecilia Braekhus last year. Now she's set to fight for 2 more. This one, is it the way Natasha says it is? That north of welterweight, the girls just really ain't that good. You know what?
What?
Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not as talented, not as good in terms of nuts and bolts boxing, but they are big. It's what Cecilia Braekhus will have to face in August. Cecilia Braekhus sports professional record. 37 wins with 2 losses, 1 draw, 9 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 40 professional bouts.
She's only ever been beaten by one person. That one person is Jessica McCaskill, who has since retired. Both her losses came to the same person.
Where Emma Kozin, the defending champion, she sports a professional record. 24 wins with 1 loss, 1 draw, 12 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 26 professional bouts. Several years younger than Cecilia Braekhus and naturally bigger, even if she's not as talented. Last in action in November of last year opposite the ring, Hannah Rankin, who she won a split decision against. She had 2 fights last year and won them both.
She's only ever been beaten once, just once by Clarissa Shields, and there's no shame in that.
She has since rebounded off that loss, and currently she's on a 3-fight winning streak, where Cecilia is coming off a draw with then champion Terry Harper.
Kind of speaks to what Natasha Jonas was saying.
What?
Terry Harper was able to go to junior middleweight and become a champion up there because the talent pool ain't that deep at junior middleweight.
But when she dropped down from junior middle down to welter and fought Sandy Ryan, you saw what happened. She got ragdolled because Sandy, in many ways, is a more talented fighter than most of the fighters you'll find at junior middle.
So on that presupposition, does Cecilia Brækhus stand a chance? Can she beat Emma Kozin?
On the premise that even if the girls at junior middleweight are bigger, they're not necessarily better. They're not as talented. The thing about Cecilia is that she's a lot older than Emma Kozin. Cecilia's 42 years old.
Where Emma is 25.
17 years younger, close to 2 decades younger than Cecilia Brækhus. The naturally smaller, older fighter who's never really been a physical fighter, a physical kind of fighter. She's always been cerebral, more finesse than ferocity.
I'm rooting for her.
Irrespective of how the matchup breaks down, I would like to see Cecilia win this fight. I would like to see her achieve this goal and achieve this dream of becoming a 2-weight world champion, but I just don't know. She's up against it against Emma Kozin. Emma's a big girl. She's strong. She's a southpaw. And she's 17 years younger than Cecilia. She's not as good a boxer.
But she is bigger and younger, so does she need to be?
It's not a foregone conclusion. It's not a foregone conclusion that based on experience or skill set, Cecilia Braekhus wins this fight, because if nothing else, she's taking on someone who's a lot younger and bigger. Certainly stronger than she is, a more authoritative puncher.
This could end badly for the aging fighter.
You're telling me, how many boxers, male and female, overstayed their welcome in the sport of boxing thinking they had one more good one left, one more big fight, one more title, one more?
It's dicey.
Waiting for an official announcement. We'll talk more about the fight as the fight date approaches. Men's junior middleweight news. Terence Crawford has claimed that a rematch between himself and Errol Spence Jr. at 154 could happen if both are successful in their upcoming world title fights. Would it be repeat or revenge? Most people tell you it's just going to be a repeat of the first fight. Hell, a lot of people will tell you he may not make it past Sebastian Fundora, but it is a possibility.
Errol Spence Jr. is said to be facing Sebastian Fundora later on this year, and in a matter of weeks, Terence Crawford will be fighting Israel Madrimov.
Mixed reviews for that fight, mixed feelings among the boxing community. Some people like the fight, some people don't. Some people say that Israel doesn't have that many fights. Even if he is a champion, some people are saying it's a cherry pick.
Compared to who Errol's fighting.
Sebastian Fundora? But who is it that they wanted Terence Crawford to fight? He couldn't have fought Sebastian, he couldn't have, because the doctors told Sebastian after the Tim Tszyu fight that he's got to take the rest of the summer off. He can't come back until the fall. That's what the doctors told him. That's what the story was.
What's Crawford supposed to do, wait to come back until the fall?
Couldn't fight Sebastian over the summer months.
Forget about Jermell Charlo. He doesn't even have a title at 154 anymore. Not that it matters, he's been missing in action since Canelo beat him.
Sebastian wasn't available, Jermell Charlo wasn't available. Don't tell me that you're poo-pooing on the Madrimov fight because Crawford's not fighting Bakhram Murtazaliev, the even lesser known Bakhram Murtazaliev, newly crowned IBF champion. Israel is a better fighter than that guy and a more well-schooled amateur.
I'd pick Israel to beat that guy 10 times out of 10.
But there are people who are not happy with the Israel Madrimov fight, calling it a cherry pick. So, who would you have him fight? Who would you have Crawford fight instead of Israel Madrimov?
They're saying Boots.
This again with the Jaron Boots Ennis stuff. This again, let me tell you something.
What?
Terence Crawford was all tied up until this year.
This one.
With the rematch clause.
The rematch clause Errol Spence Jr. activated after the fight last year. He was all tied up last year with that. What remained of last year up until this one. It wasn't up until early this year they decided to forego the rematch. He wasn't at liberty to fight anybody else.
He wasn't at liberty to fight Boots.
And who was going to pay for it?
Who was going to pay for Crawford versus Boots when Jaron Boots Ennis was fighting exclusively on Showtime up until last year? But last year, Showtime left the sport of boxing. So who was going to put the money up to put those two guys in a ring?
Who was going to pay for it? And who was going to promote it? You know, earlier this year, Boots' longtime promoter, Cameron Duncan, he passed away.
He died. As a result of his death, Jaron Boots Ennis went into court with Boxing Now to try to achieve free agency. He was all tied up with that.
So why do people keep saying that Crawford could have fought Boots?
Because people are stupid. People are stupid and they're looking for any way they can complain about what Terence is doing now. Because underneath it all, the people criticizing him and criticizing the Israel Madrimov fight, those are just Spence fans, man.
Those are just guys that are mad Crawford beat the crap out of Spence.
They don't want to admit it. Of course they don't want to admit it. But that's who these people are. There's nothing wrong with the Israel Madrimov fight. Israel is an unbeaten champion at junior middleweight, and at this time, he's the only available champion for Crawford to fight.
Sebastian's out until the fall, remember?
Bakhram Murtazaliev, he's not a better fighter than Israel Madrimov. Don't pretend that he is, and don't pretend you even know who that is.
You don't.
You're just a sourpuss. This is a case. A sour grape, some malcontent. You just want to criticize Crawford, whatever he's doing, for no reason other than you're mad. You're still mad that Errol lost.
Get over it.
You drunk the Kool-Aid. I told you here on this channel, many days, weeks, many months, many years, about 5, that Terence Crawford would beat the brakes out of that guy. I said it before the car accident. I said it after the car accident.
Why are you mad?
Because Crawford's tapped into the Saudi money and Errol hasn't.
Why are you mad?
Because Crawford might go on to become a 5-division champion in just a matter of weeks, where Errol's career is circling a drain.
Why are you mad?
Because guys like me are now vindicated for saying that Errol's overrated. He was always overrated, and you guys don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Why are you mad?
If Errol wants another crack at the apple, all he's got to do is make it past Sebastian Fundora later on this year, if that fight even happens. It's rumored to be going down. It's rumored to happen, but I just don't know. There were also rumors about an August show the PBC was supposed to be putting on. We're in the middle of July. Nothing's been announced.
There were rumors they were supposed to be doing a show in August. I don't know if they're not going to do it. I just know nothing's been announced yet.
We're in the middle of July. So I'm not sure. I'm not for sure that Spence versus Fundora is going to happen. But if it does happen and Errol wins, becomes WBC champion, he can bring that WBC title to a Terrence Crawford rematch at what is a healthier weight
For him.
Why are you mad?
Because if there is a rematch and they do fight, all those narratives about the weight, they go out the window.
Why are you mad?
You're mad. I know why you're mad. Because you don't really believe it was the weight, and you're scared that he'll lose again. That's why you're mad.
Why are you mad?
Because it's been almost a year to the date, and guys like me is still gloating.
Why wouldn't I be gloating? Who was more obnoxious and annoying than Errol Spence Jr.'s fans? Always looking to argue with everybody.
Just to be loud and wrong. But they can do it. If Errol wants to do it, though Errol did say this may be the last time we see him, this upcoming Sebastian Fundora fight. He said that before he deleted the tweet.
Not with Derek James anymore. He's going to be breaking in a new trainer at a new weight against a very awkward fighter.
Over a year out from his last fight, and his last fight, he got beaten half to death.
Boo-hoo.
He should have had to fight sooner. Maybe the beating wouldn't have been as bad.
Why are you mad?
He would have still lost. He was always going to lose to Terrence Crawford. By and large, the better boxer, even if a few blind Texans don't know the ball from the bounce. Here on Ring IQ. We knew the score. We knew the deal.
Got him!
But they can do it. They can do it. If Errol wants to do it, Crawford's open to it. He just said that.
You want a rematch? Here's your chance.
You want revenge? And so do your fans? Hold up your end of the bargain.
beat Sebastian.
Then Terrence can beat you again. So, I'm sure most of you have heard by now that dehydration has forced unified middleweight champion Janibek Alimkhanuly out of the Andre Mikhailiovic fight tomorrow. And, this is a guy who's seeming more and more like a hard luck case to me. Unified middleweight champion Janibek was hospitalized for dehydration Thursday night, forcing the postponement of his Saturday night title defense in Vegas. Promoter Top Rank announced the card will proceed with the lightweight bout between unbeaten Raymond Muratalla and former champion Tevin Farmer serving as the main event. Kazakhstan's Alimkhanuly, 15-0 with 10 KOs, was due to defend his IBF and WBO titles against New Zealand's Andre Mikhailiovic. Promoter Bob Arum said he anticipated pitting a victorious Alimkhanuly versus the new WBC middleweight champion Carlos Adames, but now those plans are on hold.
He's a hard luck case.
He has the misfortune of campaigning in a less than ambitious middleweight division than previous eras.
It's been dead as a doorknob since Canelo moved up.
In the absence of ambitious and worthy adversaries, and in the absence of big marquee names, marquee fighters to spruce things up at 160 pounds, the plight of Janibek Alimkhanuly, he already seemed like a hard luck case to me, having no luck getting Carlos Adames or Erislandy Lara in the ring to unify titles with him. He wants to be undisputed, though, even if he achieved that goal.
How much credit would he get for it?
In today's middleweight division, if he were fortunate enough to get both Lara and Adames in the ring, and he beat them, I'd give him credit. I'd give him his just due for beating the two remaining champions at this weight. I would. But what about the American boxing fans? The American boxing fans at large that are very selective, very picky.
Critical is more like it.
And that's if he were fortunate enough to get those fights. We know that he isn't. Those two guys are on the PBC side of things. He was supposed to fight unbeaten up-and-comer from New Zealand, Andre Mikhailiovic, tomorrow, and look what happened.
He's dehydrated.
The natural assumption is this guy pushed himself too hard. He went too far in trying to boil down to 160. What this might herald is a necessary move upstairs to 168, which is a comparatively deeper division, though still divided between promotional outfits. Some familiar fighters and names are on the PBC, others are somewhere else.
Caleb Plant and Jermall Charlo, they're over there at the PBC. Jaime Munguia, he's a Golden Boy. Diego Pacheco, he's with Matchroom.
So is Edgar Berlanga, and even Weiss, that if he were to go up there right now, there ain't no alphabet title for him to fight for. Canelo's got all of them. And we all know he can only fight one guy at a time. A guy like Janibek wouldn't be on his radar. He's got enough mandatories lined up between William Skull, Edgar Berlanga, David Benavidez.
Now Diego Pacheco, too. I remember reading that Diego Pacheco is in line to fight for the WBO title.
That if he were to go up there right now, looking to fight for a title, there are already so many guys ahead of him in the queue, he would have next to no leverage and no chance of getting a Canelo Alvarez fight. So it's unfortunate that he might have to vacate the 2 titles he's currently holding at middleweight to move up to super middleweight because he can't make that weight healthy anymore.
And if he were to go up there, remember, he signed the Top Rank. Who does Top Rank have for him to fight?
Top Rank stake in the super middleweight division comes to us in the form of Canada's own Christian Mabili. That's what they've got going on at 168 pounds. And I like Christian Mabili. He's a fighter who's made for TV, he is, but for Janibek, a guy like that would be a high risk, low reward.
It's not a big money fight.
He's obviously not a champion. There's only one champion at 168, and that's Canelo, and we just talked about that. That while a hardcore boxing fan like me, like you, we might like the idea of Janibek versus Mabili. Makes for a great fight, but what's in it for Janibek? That's what his people are going to ask themselves.
Or do they force it?
They're not ready to leave the middleweight division yet. Not while he's still got 2 alphabet titles there and he's unbeaten and there are avenues to pursue. Maybe they try again. I just don't know. But on the face of this, the natural assumption is Janibek pushed himself too hard trying to make 160, and it might be time to move up.
He's no Golovkin.
I don't want to slight him. I don't say that out of spite. I'm just saying that if when you first saw or you first heard of Janibek Alimkhanuly, who hails from Kazakhstan, like Gennady Golovkin hails from Kazakhstan, if that's who came to mind, all I can say is Janibek's run at this weight doesn't seem to be going...
He's no Golovkin.
Try as he might to become the most dominant force at this weight. There are so many outlying factors in association with his run at 160, not exclusive to what he can do and what his ability is, but what is available to him, the politics of boxing, the political boundary lines that determine what fights happen and what fights don't, and the overall profile of the division, that not as many people are watching the middleweight division as they used to, and now his health.
It's irrespective of his ability to fight.
Can he even make this weight healthy anymore? You know, he's not a young guy.
He's 31.
31 years old. That's not old for a middleweight, and in a very general sense, that's not old, but it ain't young either, that it may be growing more and more difficult over time to keep boiling down to 160.
You can go to 168, but you'll be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle.
I don't know what he's gonna do. This is not good news. I was actually looking forward to his fight tomorrow, but he's not going to be able to make it.
The show must go on.
And for Raymond Muratalla and Tevin Farmer, the show does go on. But Janibek, he's going to have to sit this one out.